Hey folks, Shep here, Kilo 4 Oscar Kilo India. Some of you may be aware that earlier today I was out in Uncle Sam 6834, also known as Brunswick Town or Fort Anderson State Historical Site here in eastern North Carolina. This park is located just south of Wilmington, a little west from Southport, North Carolina, and about a 25-30 minute drive from Oak Island. Uh, I love Oak Island. Family got a little beach house down here. It's actually where I'm at right now. Hence the OKI in my call sign. Um, but before I get into today's activation, I want to throw a big shout out and thank you to all the hunters that hunted me today and made contact with me while I was out in the park for my little 1 pound POTA challenge. I was challenged to do this challenge by an individual that's going to remain unnamed because I have got a little plan for a challenge for them in the short near future. But today I used the QRP Labs QMX. My QMX is a 20 through 80 meter rig, and the antenna that I used was a Tuflin 10 through 40. So I gave myself a little bit more of a difficult time here because the antenna that I chose to use, I could really only use on two bands for the time of day that I was going to be out there working. It is resonant on 20, 40, and 80, but 30 and 60 really weren't an option because they need to be tuned, and I didn't have enough weight for a tuner. So I was pretty much committed to 20 and 40 meters. But through the activation today, the entire activation was on 40 meters. I made 17 total QSOs, and one call had the opportunity of making contact with me on three different modes. Another call made contact with me on two modes, and the rest of the contacts were with single sideband contacts. The other parts of the kit that I used today was a 9-volt battery. It's an Energy Tech 9-volt, 1200 milliamp amp hour lithium battery. I didn't even kill this; it still got some juice to it. Did really well. And the other piece of kit that I've got to throw a shout out to is the K6 ARK mini mic. Um, this is the microphone I used for single sideband. Just connects with a simple 1.5 jack into your rig. So big props to Adam for that little piece of wonderful equipment that he helped create. Now let's talk about what I learned. What I learned was, in my haste and in my nervousness, I made a very, very foolish rookie mistake. I looked at where I was going to set up, and I chose to set up at a location because it was paved. I'd have less bugs to deal with, and I didn't really take into consideration that I was going to be in the sun. And if you watch a video I'll tag into this where I'm making contact with Max, uh, the sweat's rolling off my head, and I literally caused the not KX3, my QMX to overheat. It didn't overheat because my antenna wasn't tuned properly. The antenna is a near 1.25 on 20 and on 40 um, for SWR. So it was simply the radio was just getting beat in the sun by the intense sun and the heat from it today. So I ended up disconnecting everything, moving over to another picnic table that was in the grass and in the shade. The bugs decided they wanted to jump all over me while I was finishing things up. But once I got the radio to cool off, then things worked out just fine. So there was my first mistake. Now let's talk about what I underestimated. I went into this thinking that my CW contacts were going to be the hardest ones for me to make. They were the easiest. I literally didn't have a key, so I pre-programmed in my CQ call. I programmed in a good morning with a 5NN. So regardless of how I heard the hunter calling me, they were going to get a 5NN from me. Which fortunately, the three calls that I did work CW, they were booming 20, 40 over at least. So they got an honest signal report from me, and the FT8 portion was relatively easy as well. But what made the FT8 contact more difficult was I had to hook the USB cable up to my iPad in order to complete the contact. Utilizing the messages inside the QMX, it was literally push a button, turn a dial, push the button between me communicating to them and them communicating back. And I also threw out a 73-day K4OKI did. So the three QSOs that I had working CW were by far a lot easier than what I thought they were going to be. What the hard part was, I figured that the single sideband contacts were going to be easier to work, and I was completely and totally wrong. I did get plenty of contacts, and I'd still got good signal reports, but I figured that I was going to have a pile up like I have a typical pile up on 40 meters at UTC changeover, or a typical pile up that I have on 40 meters at 10 o'clock in the morning. Um, that was not the case. And when you're throwing out a maximum of about 2.5 watts on 40 meters, you really get the opportunity of realizing just how far your signal is getting out, uh, com- comparing single sideband to digital or to CW. That's where the eye-opening experience was, and that's what I learned the most out of this is though I got into Fayetteville and I got into Raleigh pretty easy, and I got 5.5 signal reports returned back to me. I did get a couple of 4.5s from the Raleigh area, and Max gave me a 5.2 when he was up in the mountains in North Carolina. Um, so, you know, that's where I learned the most. But it was great. It was fun. It was a great little challenge. And all I'm going to add to this is don't stop watching now. Continue to watch on. I do have a excerpt that I'm going to include into this video. CQ POTA, CQ POTA, CQ POTA, Kilo 4, Oscar, Kilo India calling CQ Parks on the air. N4, TRD, go ahead, you're 5'9", Max. QSL, I copy the 5x2. I copy the 5.2. Thanks, Max. I appreciate it. 73. That's a park to park, correct? Okay, I got your park number. I got your park number. Uncle Sam 10262. 73. Thank you much, my friend. Okay, what time is that? 50. All right, that's 9. I only need one more. Well, if you can't laugh at yourself, who can you laugh at? So, when you run out of hands, you put things in strange places, but whatever. Uh, but before you leave, I'll include a few photos of my QSO map and where PSK Reporter was picking me up today with the QMX while I was on FT8. Again, thanks for watching. 73, Kilo 4, Oscar, Kilo India.